Hey everyone, David Coe with the Co Real Estate Group. Hey, it's official. The NAR settlement, all the changes that were agreed to in that settlement have officially taken place this week in the industry. And there's a couple of small changes that will have a pretty drastic effect on how we do business in real estate. And I've been asked this question a lot lately, so I figured I'd put together a video to help explain what's happening. So, first and foremost, number one, on the MLS, it no longer lists any kind of consideration to a buyer's agent if someone brings a buyer to a seller. So that field has been blanked out, and eventually it'll get wiped away. So if you're a buyer's agent representing a buyer, you now need to call a listing agent or get in contact, with their marketing to understand if the seller is willing to provide consideration if you bring a buyer to their property. Which from a buyer's side now, you now need to have as a buyer's agent an agreement with your buyer for some form of consideration. That can be whatever you negotiate, on both sides of that equation. As a buyer, if you don't want to be on the hook to pay a buyer's agent a large amount of consideration, you can negotiate with any agent you want. However, like all things in life, you'll get what you pay for, right? So a lesser agent will probably take a lesser of a consideration. Someone who's a more experienced agent is still going to, want to show their value to you and help you understand why paying them whatever commission they're asking for is a fair price to pay. And then as a seller, you no longer have to actually put what you're willing to pay to a buyer on your listing agreement. All you have to do is either opt in to considering paying a buyer's agent a commission or not, right? As a seller, you do not have to compensate the buyer side. That could be between them and their client. However, especially with first-time home buyers, if you're offering no consideration, you may drastically limit the pool of buyers that you have to solicit offers to you on your property. So as a listing agent, what I've been telling my clients is there's literally on the form a box that you can check that says you're just willing to consider paying some kind of consideration to a buyer's agent. And then when a buyer's agent calls me and asks what the seller is offering, I'll let them know that the seller is definitely willing to consider paying some kind of consideration to the buyer's agent to put it in their offer. And if they've got a contract for 1%, then put it in and we'll consider it. If they've got an offer for our contract for 3%, then put it into the offer, right? And if the offer is strong enough, the seller may consider it. If the seller isn't willing to pay that, then they can reject the offer, or it could be a point of negotiation. So I think that's probably the biggest thing where the rubber will hit the road, so to say, on this new lawsuit, is that the actual amount of consideration is no longer something that's published. It's now a negotiating point on both sides, right? So if you're a buyer, you have the right to negotiate with your buyer's agent what you're willing to pay them. And more than likely, sellers will be still willing to offer some kind of consideration just to enhance the pool of potential buyers that come to their property and can write, great offers. But what that amount is up to the buyer and the buyer's agent, and what the seller is willing to consider is really between the seller and the buyer's agent once they receive an offer and they can see the whole picture of what the terms of that offer look like. So there's a really good article that we've attached down here that has a lot more detail in here. This is going to have a pretty monumental effect on the industry. And overall, I think it will benefit us agents that are more experienced, and agents that are just beginning are going to have a harder time breaking through as they have to show their value to their clients and why they're worth it. And are they worth it? Absolutely. Real estate is so much more than just writing offers. Getting a buyer through escrow on both sides of it is way more complicated than I think most consumers understand. So if you've got more specific questions, we'd love to sit down and kind of, let you know how this new rules affect you as both a buyer or a seller. Please feel free to contact me or one of the agents on my team, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. David Coe with the Core Real Estate Group, thanks for watching this video, and we hope to talk to you soon.